Rep. Bizabi, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Reps, for this bill. I guess I'm always surprised at the conversations that this bill and the other bill that you've presented bring upon us, because we seem to always be getting off topic. And these bills are not about limiting discussion. It's about limiting discussion in course instruction. And that's simply it. It's not about what personal conversations you have outside of the school grounds, what personal relationships you make on campus. It's not about that at all. It's about math focusing on math, science focusing on science, literature focusing on literature. It's not about discrimination. It's not about segregation. It's not about any of these subjects. And I'm really concerned at the misinterpretation. And more so, I'm concerned at the fact that no one seems to be calling out these so-called advocacy groups, all of which benefit from federal grants for every letter of the alphabet, by the way, as they promote this stuff. They benefit, and how are they serving our children? This misinformation is damaging. It's damaging, and they are liable. They are liable for this. And for anyone in the community that thinks that anyone up here is looking at you any differently, because some people may or may not take the time to understand the pronouns, I speak for myself, but in knowing most of these members, I think they share my sentiment. We only see people as humans. And some are sad, and some are lost, and some are lonely, and some are confused. And we're trying, we have a responsibility to make life better and make things more easily understandable. And I've spoken with some educators, and the lady earlier mentioned that they don't even have time to catalog books, and they barely have time to keep up with their course loads, and there's enough for them to do, and then they're going to be penalized for not taking the time to memorize each individual's pronouns. I mean, there's a name on a birth certificate. Your parents register you in a school with that name. It should be just left at that and the focus on the course curriculum. This is not about anything else, but just, making things a little simpler in life. And I'm really concerned at how things get blown out of proportion. And I'm more concerned because I know that the activists turned agitators and advocacy groups, and however they want to label themselves these days, they go back and they only report one side of that. And the people that this affects, they don't get to see these debates. They don't get to see these conversations. They don't get to know the people that have spent a lot of time making sure that this doesn't do anything to hurt children, but to protect children. I hear a lot about books being removed from schools, and I haven't seen any of that. And I've toured the schools in my district, and I'm speaking for my district, and I have noticed things that surprised me. I've looked at the approved books, and then I'll see other books with sexually explicit things that have no business being on a school campus. Maybe in a public library, but on a school campus when they're supposed to be focused on, the course load that's at hand. And I'm curious how these books get there. And whether it's the school board, whether it's, parents and teachers working together, bringing personal agendas, they're changing the way it's done. So it might not be an approved book, but it might be something through an initiative. These are brand new books being donated to campuses that are being easily distributed to children. And I think, what happened to PG-13? Let's just keep things appropriate at age levels. Let's see, what else? I was trying to take a lot of notes. I guess that's it for now, but I'm going to support the bill for the simplicity that it is about course discussion. I think that we need to really focus on bringing the education levels of our children up before we give them more distractions. And there's a strong message up here to all of you that are listening, that love is love, and everyone is heard, and everyone is seen, and there is no judgments or discrimination to any of this legislation, or I would not support it. So I'm going to be supportive, and thank you for letting me talk.